Happy New Year. Welcome to 2022. And the WRP is back. And back with a splash, back with a big New Year's Eve. A firework, table display, whatever you will like. Bang. Because we've got Sarah Hunter MBE in the house alongside. How are you, Sunter?
I'm all right, thanks, Johnny. Happy New Year to you too.
Very, very happy New Year to you. How was your festive period? How was Christmas? How was New Year?
Probably a little bit different to what was planned. I think, like a lot of other people, I managed to get COVID on Christmas Day of all days. So I was in isolation for the whole festive period. So it was different, but it was chilled out. I still had a nice time.
So were you by yourself isolating and testing every 13 minutes?
No, so my other half was with me as well. So at least we weren't on our own.
Oh, nice. That was
Yeah.
probably quite nice then, wasn't it? The old was it a candlelit Christmas turkey crown?
Do you know what? We did actually have candles on the table, and we did have turkey. So yeah, predictable.
So it was.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. And did you? Because I've always imagined having Christmas kind of by yourself. Did you not even get out of your pajamas, or just slip a tracksuit on for the day?
No, I did actually make us get dressed for Christmas dinner. So like we were pretty chill during the day, and then I was like, we actually need to like make an effort for Christmas dinner.
Ladies and gentlemen, those are the standards in which the Red Roses set themselves by. Those kind of standards. We are dressing for supper. Who would have thought it? The Northeast lass dressing for supper. Was it sort of
I mean, when I say dressing,
ball gowns,
it was
black tie?
no, it was jeans and a nice top, standard classic,
I
token
bet he looked
effort to
lovely.
get over.
Great stuff. And then New Year, I presume you're still isolating, were you?
Yeah, still isolating. I couldn't test my way out. I don't, because my symptoms had started a little bit before I actually tested positive. But yeah, you know the new rule where like day 6 and 7, if you test negative, you can get out. I literally couldn't get a negative lateral flow till my release date anyway. So
Right. Okay. And are you okay? I mean, you seem very well, very sprightly this morning. Were you rough with it? You
a
recovered
little
well?
bit. Yeah. So a bit like a lot of people, just like a heavy cold. Rough for a few days, lost my sense of smell and taste, and then rode it out and feeling so much better now, thanks, Johnny. But I think also being able to get out and get back to training and stuff helps a lot with that, rather than being stuck inside in a very small flat, not being able to do a lot.
Yes. Well, we've been here before, haven't we? For all of us. Oh, tell me, obviously you're in isolation. Obviously, full PPE for the big fella in the red and white costume when he's going down all these chimneys. Did he manage to visit you?
Yes, he did actually. I got a few little bits, and then the main present was delivered later on after Christmas.
What does the England captain ask for Christmas?
I got a coat actually, Johnny.
A
Got a
coat.
coat, yeah.
Oh, I thought you said a comb. I was like, wow,
Yeah, probably
really
need a
pushed the
coat.
pose out.
Yeah, I got a coat.
Nice,
Yeah.
smart woolen type to go with the outfit for Christmas dinner.
Yeah, no, it was one of these longish, big, thick duvet type style coats.
I get you.
Sort of.
Nice. Keep you warm on a winter's day. Well, look, we've got a really good show ahead of us today. We're going to just have a little look back at the last week or so over the festive period. We've had a bit of time off. Felt we deserve that as we're crashing towards our 100th episode. So yeah, we're going to have a look back at the last a couple of weeks and all the relevant news going around. At the moment with Sunter here, and then we're just going to look ahead to 2022 as well. And of course, Nandi Buthelezi from South Africa. Now that's a very different Christmas. That's a very different Christmas. I curse social media at these times when in Australia that they're on a. I've got friends in Australia and their posts are huge shrimps on a barbie. On a beach, and crisp Sancerre or Sauvignon Blanc on the beach. Yeah, it's what a shame. but no, it's Nandi will bring us all the international and domestic news a little bit later on. But so let's get stuck into the last couple of weeks. Probably an appropriate place to start. It's a lovely time of the year, isn't it, with people getting together and what have you, and obviously in England still able to do that. Big game 13. We've got to give plaudits to Harlequins, who I think for most people have been pioneering and pushing the envelope in terms of the women's club game. And they've they have their own big games at the Stoop, don't they, with record crowds, and they played a couple of years ago, didn't they, Leinster and part of the big game. But this felt as though they were properly entrenched in it. They played first, which I think is absolutely the way to go. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And it was a proper occasion. Broadcast very, very well by BT. All the bells and whistles. Viewing figures peaking at 100,000, which are very, very good figures for a club game, whether it be men or women. It was just a really, really good occasion.
Oh, it was brilliant. I think the whole build up to it as well, like they were, like you say, they were very much part of the event. It didn't feel like an add-on. It felt like they announced a big game and it was both the men's and women's team playing. So it felt like a dual event. Whereas sometimes in the past, I think when women have played, it's kind of like, oh, we've got the men's game, and then, oh, by the way, you can watch the women as well if you want to. It, like, all their promotion, everything they did around it, it definitely felt like this big event that they were putting on together, and it was showcasing two of their teams. And then on the day, like, I was obviously watching it on my sofa from isolation, and it was great. Like, the build up to it, the fact, like you say, it was on BT, like, rugby fans watch domestic rugby via BT because that's where it is. So to actually turn on and see that the women's domestic game was on there was fantastic. And like you say, that the viewing figures were great. It helps that it had a great broadcaster on as well, running the comms with the duo act.
Yeah, Scarlett's good, isn't she?
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
So no, but it does help when you've got two people who know the game inside out and have in-depth knowledge about the game and the players as well. Like that comes across to the fans watching. And yeah, like I think they did it really well. It looked like a great day to just be there in the stadium as a fan watching two games with the whole was it Pete Tong playing, like the light show, everything about it just seemed like Johnny had his glow sticks out. It just seemed like a really good day to be like a part of. And I think obviously you hear and speak to the players that were involved, and they absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I mean, hugely special, isn't it? It's the old adage. I think it's Kevin Costner film, isn't it? Build it and they will come. About a baseball, I can't remember. Field of Dreams, of course, that's what it's called. Good film, actually. You should watch it. But yeah, it felt proper. It felt like it was one club. Bosh, there we are. This is what we're doing. We're taking over Twickenham, and this is what we're doing for the day. And it just felt, as you say, all part of it. It's a really good family day, and it's become so. And again, credit to Harlequins. It's not a long journey from home, is it? But to have 70,000 there, and I just wonder, you've done it a huge amount of times, but to run out at Twickenham, which for the majority of the girls out there, would be their home national stadium. But to do that in club colours with the people you spend day in, day out with, and we've spoken about the unbelievable atmosphere around the Red Roses, particularly at the moment. But the girls you spend day in, day out with, to do that at Twickenham must have been incredibly special.
Oh, undoubtedly. And I think like not many people get to play there, like men or women, in their entire career. So like you say, to be able to do that with people who, like that you say, you spend so much time with, you go to battle with, is a really special thing. And I think you could see that from from what it meant to the girls, both Harlequins and Wasps players, on how they spoke about it on social media. And I think it is, and some may never play there again, and that moment to treasure, I think is really important, and hopefully it will happen more often, and more people, or female people, will get the opportunity to play on the hallowed turf, because it is a wonderful stadium to play in, and a very special occasion when you get to do so.
Yeah, I can only imagine it's a privilege just to be there and add a small part to the day. But it felt incredibly proper. Craig Doyle is quite clearly very invested in the women's game. That was really good. First time I'd met him. But to have Maggie Fonzie and Emily Scarrett involved. Jenny Drummond was doing the reporting as well. Someone I rate very highly. It just, for me, and it's always been my thing, is having seen you guys from a couple of decades ago, you're getting up at 4 a.m. to train and then do what you do on the rugby field. You deserve a huge amount, and actually, being broadcast like that and that kind of stage, it just felt, it really fitted. The jigsaw piece wasn't a weird shape; it slotted straight into that day by Harlequins, and that has to be the future, doesn't it? I mean, I'm a massive fan of the double headers, because I think one of the biggest hurdles we have, and we'll just jump on our soapboxes early on in 2022, but I don't like women's rugby. Well, how much have you seen? I haven't watched it. Right. Well, that's negligent and dumb. But actually, if you expose people to it, there's huge people have said to me after the big game, actually really enjoyed the women's game. Actually, probably more than the men's. Although first half from Queen's Northampton was something else. But just a little bit more time. Kicking's not so much of a focus, and actually, it's a really entertaining game. And I think you stick people on beforehand, women's and the men's, a double header. There's a massive issue of broadcasting to sort out, but we won't get into that now. But it's something that you guys at Loughborough Lightning have jumped on the bandwagon with you stood a partner pub club Northampton as well.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Just picking up on that is the fact that over my career, the amount, like when we played at Twickenham before as part of the double header, like the amount of people that have said like, they've stayed on afterwards for whatever reasons. Like, some people are interested, some people it's circumstance that they've seen that anyway, and they've gone, we've never seen it, but we've loved it, and we're gonna keep going, and we're now invested, and they've actually like complete converts to the women's game. So we just need an opportunity to showcase the game itself and what it's about, and like people will come, and I think we've seen that over the last few years, and obviously the double header at Twickenham showed that. And so for us, this season with our new partnership with Northampton, it's like brilliant that we've got an opportunity to have a double header with them. And Mark Darbin, their CEO, he's been brilliant, like right from the beginning. Like he wanted to give us that platform and to showcase who we are and how we fit in with the partnership. And he's a massive supporter of the women's game, of trying to drive out for that Northamptonshire area. And he's like fully involved with everything that is going on and happening within the partnership, which I think is so significant, that you've got the man in charge of the whole club that is investing time into the women's game. And I know when we found out that we were going to have a double header with Northampton, like the girls were buzzing about it, and they were probably because they had seen the impact and how great the Harlequins one from Christmas was. So yeah, it's like to play in. I mean, we got to play at Franklin's Gardens with England in the autumn, and it's an incredible pitch. It was a great stadium, and to be able to play in environments like that from your club is like that's surely the aim and the drive for this league, is to put ourselves on stages like that. So yeah, no, we're we're certainly looking forward to it, and it's not too far away now.
It's not 19th of February for the details.
Yeah.
At the Gardens, at Franklin's Gardens, as you say, it's a great stadium. Very knowledgeable crowd. Love their ruggers. We won't say it's lack of anything else to do in the area outside of making shoes or testing lifts. But no, they're a very knowledgeable crowd, and yeah, as you say, it was a great occasion when you played there in the autumn. It has to be the way, and I was really enthused. It's brilliant to hear about Mark Darban being fully invested. But yeah, because how many times have Bristol played at Ashton Gate, for example? How many times have Gloucester Hartbury played at King's Home? And then these are established clubs with that link already. I just thought it was really, really good to to see in such an early partnership that carrying on. I would just say, we've got to be careful, not just to follow the men's Premiership, path and the way that they do things. Got to do things the women's way. What slight differences in terms of putting the league together and getting it out there do you see needs to happen?
What, moving forward?
Yeah,
I think
these double headers have to be a focus, don't they?
Yeah, I do think you like to say. It'll be really interesting to see what the new version of Premier 15s, what will it be, 3.0, 2.0, whatever it is, in a year's time or so. But there are so many clubs that have linked with their men's team. I think, how can the men's team help those women's sides? You look at in terms of football and how women's football has risen, and how being linked to their men's club has helped drive that. And yes, I fully agree that the women's game is different and needs to be done in its own right, but there is definitely things that can be done by the men's partner club to support the women's game and to drive it forward, and like I say, to try and put it at front and center of people's attentions, to show this is the women's game, this is how great it is. Let's get behind it. Let's come and watch whatever that might be, to try and just keep moving the women's game forward. And for me, the double header thing is probably the easiest thing. Pitches nowadays are so well looked after, so well protected, that actually then it should be doable. And you've seen the clubs that are doing it and will probably go on to do it in the future as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's not rocket science. Clubs have to do it, otherwise, you're not going to survive beyond the next decade or whatever. So, it's certainly the way to go forward. As I say, the broadcast issue is something that needs to be sorted out, and there's lots of people trying to get it sorted out. But no movement on it as yet. But let's look back at some of the Prem 15 games over the Christmas period for you to catch up on from round 9. DMP Durham Sharks unable to score against Exeter Chiefs, 88 points. Sometimes we think there's a little bit of improvement from DMP, and then we get another scoreline like that. It's a shame, isn't it?
It's tough for them. There's some good young players up there, but I think quite a lot of their experienced players or international players have gone, and that makes it even then tougher for them. There's no doubt that they work hard, and it's just, I mean, we found at the beginning of the season, when you've lost games and you continue to lose games, it's a difficult place. We fortunately had the experience of people around, and we managed to get ourselves out of that. Whereas week on week, when scorelines are coming at you hard, it's really difficult. Obviously, Tam's gone back to try and help like sort things out and to give them a bit of experience and direction, which says a lot about her as a person and what that club means to her to go and do that. But it's going to be a difficult season for them. I think in terms of the end, I can't see drastic things turning around before then. So I mean, you'd like to think as we come into the second half of the season that maybe like you will see improvements and they will pick up because of the lessons they've learned or the experience those inexperienced players have now got. But it's a pretty tough season, that's for sure.
Yeah, and then you come to the back end of season after this. We're looking at Bath is sniffing around, aren't they? London Irish formed a team with some pretty decent coaches, guerrilla type coaches. Graham Smith, he knows what I mean. He won't be offended by that. Newcastle, which obviously geography wise would suit, wouldn't it? I know that's RFU and powers of be always very, very keen to keep the geography going. But yeah, all the best to Tamara Taylor and DMP Durham Sharks. Loughborough Lightning, hell of a victory over the Bristol Bears, who are the pace setters early on in this league. A few little bumps in the road since then, but that's a 17-14. It's not the biggest victory, but a very, very pleasing from where they've come from and where you've come from early part of the season.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen the reaction after when the final whistle went, but you could just see how much it meant to the whole group. Not even the players that were on the pitch, those like players that either weren't available, weren't selected, like for whatever reason, like everyone was down watching the game, and you could see like just in terms of how we celebrated that win, that what it meant. And I think it had come from, like, it hasn't been the easiest of seasons for us this year. Mm-hmm. So actually to sort of like pick up a win like that. And I think in the manner, like you say, it wasn't the highest scoring game, but we had to defend our line for probably 10 minutes of that game, like wave after wave of Bristol pressure, and managed to keep them out to win the game. So yeah, and again we were 14-0 down after about 15 minutes. So I just think everything about the game and the season, like it just meant like a lot to the group. But like we can't be banging on about that game all season. We now need to kick on, and if we do want to try and get into the top four, it's going to be a hell of a finish for us if we're going to achieve that.
Ever the professional speaking, but I was just going to point out that on a wider perspective, it puts you right back in the mix. I've just got the table up here. Worcester down 12 points in 8th. You're now 21 points. Gloucester Hartbury 6 on 24. Wasp on 26. Exeter 29. Then we do have a bit of a leap to Saracens 33 points, Quins 34, and Bristol 36. But it does put you right in the mix. But a well-needed result. We won't drill down on it anymore, but just congratulations. Worcester Warriors 10, Gloucester Hartbury 36.
Yeah, I watched this game, and Gloucester have been sort of there or thereabouts with a lot of their games, and I thought it was actually going to be closer from how Worcester performed in recent weeks before it. But actually, I know Worcester had a lot of changes on the day due to one thing or another, so their squad was quite disrupted for that game. But I think like Gloucester were just too strong on the day for them, which I guess from Worcester's performances in the build-up to that, they might be a little bit disappointed by.
Yeah, absolutely. Gloucester Hartbury frustrating me. So they can pull some unbelievable results out of the bag, possibly for 78 type minutes, and they just can't seem to get over that final hurdle. Perhaps this season they might be able to do that. The Saracens game was postponed due to COVID cases in the Saracens squad. And we spoke about the big game, but just to 29-5 it was. Bertha's good, wasn't it? Wasn't she?
Oh,
She got the hands back out.
Unbelievable, some of her passes. That, I mean, you talk about people that finish it in terms of your Jess Breaches or your Ellie Kilduns, but like if she doesn't make those like passes, like they're not getting those balls. Like it, honestly, like yeah, it was so good to see that her back doing that. Like that's what she's world class at, and that's what she's known for, and like yeah, real good.
Yeah, I mean, don't tell her that we're blowing smoke in her direction. Yeah, unavailable with her. All her various other bits and pieces going on. So we'll just talk about her. But yeah, over 9,000 people there. Fair play. It was a brilliant day. Apparently, it creates a new world record for women's club domestic game attendance. So well done all round. Moving on to this weekend, round 10. We'll get some predictions from you in just a second. Whilst Loughborough has been postponed, both teams reporting COVID cases, and Harlequins Worcester has been postponed as well. The disputes committee will meet to decide further process for both these matches. Let's get on to the games that are actually going ahead. West Country Derby, Bears versus Glastonbury.
No, it's gonna. Well, it's their first game with anything to go by. It's going to be a tight one, isn't it?
Very tight.
Very tight. It's at Bristol as well, isn't it?
It's at Bristol. 12:30.
12:30. That's an early start for Glastonbury, but it's not far.
It's not that far, is it? Let's be honest.
Still an hour. I'm gonna go Gloucester.
Away from home.
Yeah, I just think I think they'll be more the fact that they owe them one. Do you know what I mean? Like I think they narrowly lost out to them in like towards the end of the game. I think the group that they've got are quite motivated by things like that, of being like, oh well, we narrowly lost last time, like we need to win this time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a huge amount of sense. 24-17 it was early in the season. I just to be controversial because it's in the nature. I'm going to go Bristol at home. So heard it here first. Other games: Sale versus Exeter.
I'm gonna go Exeter. Are they at home, Sale?
Sale at home.
They're honest. They're making like so many strides, and the players that have got in. I just think Exeter might just be a bit too strong for them. Although Exeter lost up there last year, didn't they? Is that right? I think they did.
Oh, now you're testing my knowledge.
I think they might have lost.
They did. You're right. Yeah.
But yeah, I think.
Push you.
Yeah, I think Exeter are a little bit stronger this year with all the players that they've brought in. So I'm gonna go Exeter.
I'm with you. Saracens DMP.
Saracens,
absolutely.
Just what DMP want for the start of January 2020.
Yeah, start the new year against the double champs. Absolutely.
This is the Women's Rugby Pod.
Let's move it slightly further on to Six Nations. Since we last spoke, separate block again, and a super sort of Saturday type finals type day. All good news in the Hunter household, those announcements?
Yeah, I think it's a bit strange. I know last year was very different with the whole world that we were in, but like normally at Christmas you get into the new year and you're like, oh, Six Nations is just about to start, and obviously a lot of the stuff about the men and you're like, oh, we've got a little bit longer to wait. But having said that, I think it's the right thing. I think it's the right thing to see what in a normal year, a more normal year than last year, when we'll have fans and crowds be allowed, what it's like with our own window. So I think it's the right thing to do. There was success last year. Hard to tell whether it was because there was nothing else going on in the world, the world of rugby, or whether it actually is the right place to put. And I think, like, just what we've done before, what we spoke about before, about we don't have to do the same as what the men's game do. This is the right thing to see if it works for us. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. And the Super Saturday, like, is exactly what, like, the final last year that we had, the build up to it and the interest it had, because it all came down to that one game. Obviously results will have to go certain ways, but you know, having a Super Saturday with all the teams playing on the same day, and the competition will probably likely to come down to the results that happen that day, is, I think, a really good thing for the women's game.
And fair play. We're on a little media group, women's rugby, like to Sarah Orchard and Fee Thomas and people like that, and we obviously like Ali Donnelly and Nick Keith and whatever, and we sort of share ideas and news and whinge about people and clubs and all the rest of it behind sort of closed doors. And the Women's Six Nations sort of as a whole kind of gets a bit of ribbing. We haven't got fixtures and all the rest of it, but they don't have to make those decisions they made. They don't have to do a separate block. Probably would have been easier to not do that, and they don't have to sort of create it to a Super Saturday. It's a fairly obvious decision, but they don't have to make it. I don't know, actually, they probably get a bit of a bad press, but I know that they're certainly trying to push things, and it's sort of resistance from other areas to the men's side that aren't allowing them to do exactly what they like. So a bit of credit to them, and it will be a brilliant occasion with that, as you say, a brilliant Super Saturday. Did you see that news coming out of Wales with Garrett Lewis, the forwards coach of the Wales women, leaving?
Yeah, he's off to do something different. It's an interesting news, because they were announced as the coaches to take them through to the World Cup. So to change that quite soon, I think, is it's interesting. But a lot of things that are happening in Wales are interesting. That comes out. I don't know another word to use.
It's very politically correct. You're fine. Everything else, I'm very, very happy with you.
I think as a player, you just want stability, and I think this is another thing that makes the little bit uncertainty around who's going to coach you, like what's the coach going to be like. We're on a short time. There's obviously changes of that coach coming in anyway, so then it's like, well, I think players going into a World Cup year want that certainty of who's going to be. So hopefully whoever comes in now, that'll be it in the build up to the World Cup and potentially beyond. Yeah,
and also the point of, and you would know this, as a coach and as a player, but it's relationships, isn't it? And it's that trust, and you have and you voice in, and you may buy in straight away, but there's quite often that little whispers and that kind of stuff that goes on. And actually, Wales is in such a bad place. Let's be honest. It needed change, and change is happening, and it's going to be a bedding down period. Absolutely, 100%. We get that, but there's a World Cup, and to lose your forwards coach, 9 months out from a World Cup, has just been announced. Less than sort of 2 months ago, as one of the guys leading with Cunningham all the way through to the World Cup. It is a little strange, and the timing is bizarre. But look, we wait and see as to who goes in there. But yeah, strange news. Nice news for a Welsh player, and she is absolutely dynamite on a rugby field. Jazz Joyce, returning to Bristol from her sevens exploits with GB. She's been absolutely outstanding in a GB shirt for the last 18 months or so. special
Yeah.
player.
We found out the hard way. She scored 2 tries against us.
Yeah,
Like one point, I was like, anyone want to tackle her? Literally, she's just running around players for fun. I was like, genuinely, someone just needs to stop her from running.
but she's like Mighty Mouse. I mean, her fend
Uh,
and her tackling for such a slight girl is
Yeah.
quite incredible. The bravery and obvious sort of natural strength is quite something. But it's good to see that her sort of future's kind of mapped out, because yes, her falling away from any sort of rugby would be a real shame. But she's back in the mix. England have announced their 7 squad, but Nandi Buthelezi is going to get us up to date with that. Here's Nandi Buthelezi all the way from South Africa with the rest of the news.
I'm Rocky Clark, and you're listening to the Women's Rugby Pod.
Thank you so much, Johnny. I must say it's great to be back for our first one for 2022. I hope everyone has had an incredible festive season. I mean, 2022 is such an exciting year in terms of our rugby calendar. And of course, the big one is the Rugby World Cup, which is taking place in a couple of months. But let's start off with our news this week. We do start off in Ireland. And Tanya Rossa has been appointed the new head coach for Leinster Women's Rugby. The New Zealand-born Irish international has won 58 caps for Ireland, including 3 World Cup appearances, a 2015 Six Nations Grand Slam title, and a Barbarians representation. Moving across to Colombia, Luxoria Suarez, who has been given a 2-year ban after testing positive for a performance-enhancing drug after Colombia's 16-15 win against Kenya in the World Qualifier in August. The results of the match, however, will still remain. Moving over to South America Rugby, they've announced that Paraguay will form a women's 15 international team in 2022. And Spain have also announced 2 warm-up internationals before they defend the European Championship title in February. And we can look forward to some action between Italy and Spain on the 6th of February. And Spain A will then take on Colombia on the 10th of February 2022. The England 7 squad has been announced, and Isla Norman Bell will be featuring in that squad, as well as Abby Brown, Abby Breton, Grace Crompton, Megan Jones, Alicia Maud, Jodie Onsley, Celia Kwanzaa, Emma Urin, and Amy Wilson-Hard. And staying in England, this weekend is round 10 of the Premier 15s. Bristol Bears will take on Gloucester Hartpury, and Sale Sharks will take on Exeter Chiefs, while Saracens will take on DMP Sharks. The Wasps versus Loughborough Town has been postponed after both teams reported positive COVID cases in their squads, as well as round 10 between Harlequins and Worcester after Worcester has also reported positive COVID cases. The disputes committee will meet to decide further processes for both these matches, and of course we will give you that update. And moving over to the English Championship, these are some of the results before Christmas. And in the Championship South, all matches in round 10 were postponed due to COVID concerns. And over in the North, all matches were also postponed except for the Loughborough Town versus Sefton game, which ended in a thrashing for Sefton, with Loughborough Town getting a massive 61-0 against Sefton in that clash. Moving over to this weekend in round 11 in Championship North, Kenilworth will take on Cheltenham, while Barnsley will take on Furwood Waterloo. Novocastrians will host Loughborough Town, with Sefton hosting Lichfield, and West Park Leeds will then take on Harrogate. And in the Championship South, Buckingham Swans will take on Henley, Old Albanians will take on Blackheath, and Reading Abbey will take on Thurrock. Richmond FC will host Hove, and lastly, Supermarine will host Bath. There's no league news to report from Ireland this week. And round 10 of the Energia All-Ireland League returns on Saturday, the 15th of January 2022. Similarly, the playoffs of the Tenants Premiership in Scotland will also happen on the 15th of January 2022. The results from France before Christmas in round 7 of the Elite 1 and in Pool 1, ASM Rupenau versus Lens has been postponed. However, the Stade Rennais versus Stade Francais game did take place, and it was Stade Francais that stole the win in that clash, winning 2019. FC Grenoble get a victory at home against AC Pobokny, winning that clash 3-0 with Stade Toulouse on a bye. And moving over to Pool 2, AS Bayonnaise lost at home against Lille, losing that game 25-0, with Lyon getting a victory at home, winning that game 27-0 against Chile, Mazarin and Montpellier on a bye.
Blackneck Rugby and Stad Borde have been arranged for the 5th of February 2022. Round 8 of Elite 1 commences on the 15th of January.
Looking over to Spain before Christmas in round 10 of the Liga Iberdrola, and Sant Cugat get a win at home against Gran Resistencia, winning that game 28-22. Majadahonda also get a victory against Eibar, winning that game 49-21. Cotiva Cocos bag a massive 24-7 against Complutense Cisneros, with Sanse's Krum versus Olímpico de Bezelo being postponed. The next round of Liga Iberdrola does not commence until the 30th of January 2022, and as it stands, Majadahonda lead the table with 6 wins from 9 games on 32 points, with US Sevilla close in second on 30 points, and also with 6 wins from 9.
Fiona Coughlin, you're listening to the Women's Rugby Pod.
Nandi, thank you very much for all of that news. We'll be back next week, of course. But being the first show of 2022, Sarah Hunter MBE, got to ask you to look forward. We had a little look forward at the Six Nations. But for you personally, what are we sitting on now? 130 caps?
Yeah.
There's a World Cup. There's a Six Nations. What are your... You've obviously had quite a lot of time to think and reflect over the Christmas period being in isolation. Have you given yourself a few targets to hit this year personally with the team, club, country?
I think for club, it's just about trying to be like the best player you can be to help the team, and like I think just to see where we get to keep trying to drive those standards and just try and drive people's like belief that actually the top 4 is still possible, and just to take each game as it comes towards it. I know that's so cliche, but like that's all I think you can do as a club player.
Just looking that one up, I think it's page 37 of the media handbook. That one. She's good, ladies and gents, isn't she? Boys and girls, that is straight out of the media handbook.
They are the media handbook. But I think I think that like as a sort of a senior player amongst quite a young squad, that's what it is. And like I'm really enjoying my club rugby at the minute, and I just want to keep enjoying it. Like I want to keep turning up, and it's almost not that. I mean, everything's always about performance and high pressure, but there's probably slightly less pressure on them when you put on a England shirt. So I think that's kind of like why like I just want to go and enjoy that side of it, playing for Loughborough. We've got a great bunch of girls there, so that's a focus, and yeah, to still get into that top 4 if we can. And then obviously for England, we've obviously got 6 Nations to go and win. It would be amazing to go in and to get that. I think it's going to be possibly the biggest 6 Nations we've had in terms of like media interest, broadcast, like potentially fans coming to watch, home and away. So I think that for me, like the Six Nations is a very special tournament. So like that's the goal, is to go and win that. And then obviously the big one at the end of the year is the World Cup, and that's the ultimate goal, like is to be in that squad that gets on the plane and goes and attempts to win a World Cup. Like that would be the best 2022, is that we come home from New Zealand and we've got a trophy in our hands. But there's a lot of rugby to be played between now and then, and there's a lot of teams and players that are going to be trying to stop us. So, you know, it's pretty exciting year ahead for women's rugby, and for me personally to try and be involved in as much as possible.
Again, very straight bat, right back of the bowler. I'm gonna push you a little bit further, because that's me, and I know people out there want to hear as well. You, as you say, 130 caps. We were just talking before we came on, but your red rose number is 137, and there's the nice symmetry of that. But that means you're equal with Rocky, and she's 137 as well. Alan Wynne Jones, or Alan from Wales, 149. I mean, these are all targets. But are you putting pressure on yourself to get that extra motivation to do that? Look, they're swapping and changing in the autumn around your position. Is that something that massively drives you, or is it, I'm going to be the best version of myself, and if Simon Middleton wants to pick me, whether as a player, captain, or both, then that's what he'll do. It's controlling the controllables.
Yeah, like absolutely. I know, like getting like and playing for your country, like it's so special. And I think last year when I had all my like troubles with my neural like neck thing, like, and questions about whether I was going to get back and stuff, I think like that puts a lot in perspective around like when you get to play for your country, and or just to play rugby in general. So maybe a younger self would have been driven by trying to get to a certain number, and I've never had a certain number in my head whatsoever. In fact, the only thing I was driven by was that I didn't want to be a one cap wonder. So that was the only, I had like, if I got to 2, that was great. I just
Sarah,
didn't want to have one cap.
Sarah, you've got 129 to go with that first cap. So I think you're doing okay.
So that was the only like thing I was driven by. I was like, I just don't want to be this person that gets one cap. So that was kind of gone. After that, like numbers don't drive me. Like what drives me to keep going is like to be the best player I can be, and what drives me this year is to get to that World Cup and to get to that World Cup final. And I think I said to you before, like if I get one cap between now and then and I get to a World Cup final, like that's how it's been laid out. And I can only do what I can do by being the player that I am, because that's what's got me to playing for my country 130 times. Like I'm not gonna change that. Like I'll keep striving to be better player and improve, and I'll be ultra competitive to play in games. I know I'm not going to play in every game, like that's probably just not going to happen, like in terms of where I am in my career, and like probably managing me through to get to a World Cup, like, and that's something I've probably had to come to terms with, is that I'm not 10 years younger where I could probably play every minute of every game, and like that's all right. So it's about probably like what games that I do need to play and play well in, but in that time I still have to be performing well. And I've never been a player that wants to get picked because I'm captain. Like I want to be picked because like I deserve to be playing in that shirt, because I'm adding value to the team. So, and ultimately that's not my decision. That comes down to mids and to deeks to decide what squad's going to be the best team to face the opposition that we're doing. And I think we're very fortunate at the minute, as we've got such strength and depth within the team, and like a different selection will be used for like different opposition that we're playing, because they offer a different style of playing. And again, I think as I've got older, you have more understanding of that. Often when they come and tell you you're not playing and it's to do with rotation, and it's like you want to be playing, like there's no doubt, like you want to play every game, but like you understand where that fits in with the bigger picture and things. And I think obviously as an older player and more mature, being around the block a few times, like you do, as much as it's frustrating, you do start to understand that. So yeah, like that's my goal, like is World Cup final, and hopefully be winning a trophy. And yeah, whatever number comes alongside that, and when I go, my time's up, however many caps I've had, like it's been the best, like, and having one more is probably not going to make a difference to that in the long run.
Well, I think it'd be utter madness in England management if they threw away 130 caps worth of experience. And I know just how unbelievably valid you are with management and players. So, yeah, hopefully see you in New Zealand. But from a team perspective, with the autumn you just had, quite clearly a decent run on France as well, who would be stiff competition in that bracket of contenders. You beat them the last 47 times in a row. No, 6 or 7, isn't it now? I think. It's yours to lose, isn't it? World Cup.
Nah, I think like you try to get me a bite there, like not at all. I see what you've done there, Johnny.
Do you know that straight face as well? Really straight face. Get the straight
really
face.
straight face. Nah, you know as much as anyone. You get to a World Cup and all bets are off. Like form, like past results don't really mean much. Like it's what happens when you're there. So yeah.
Yes, I couldn't agree with you more. One of my favourite bits of ever watching rugby. I wasn't commentating, but was watching Nick Briggs making that break and Alice Miller down that left-hand side at Marcosi. Unbelievable World Cup moment that was for Ireland to beat New Zealand. But there you are. There's the goal. World Cup final with a trophy. You know. Some people have just said read a couple more books, but no. We have the big hitters on here, ladies and gentlemen, that want to win World Cups with trophies. So there you are. There's the resolutions from Sarah Hunter. I may have taken a few words out of context there, but not to worry. And the final qualification tournament, we may as well update you with that as we're talking World Cups, will take place the 19th and 24th. Sorry, between the 19th and 24th of February. Over in Dubai, the Seventh Stadium. Makes a lot of sense. Everyone can come together. COVID rules are pretty decent there. You're just not allowed to dance on the dance floor. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they'll have much dancing, so it's probably all right.
So the guys told me when we were over there for Sevens. I mean, I didn't find out personally, but the guys told me. Yes, that's banned in a COVID world. Other than that, yeah, it seems like a really good idea, doesn't it? Scotland, Samoa, Colombia, and the winner of Hong Kong against Kazakhstan will be battling it out between the 19th and 24th of February over in Dubai. But that's about it for this week, the first of 2022. One little shout out though, Simi Pam has won Bristol 24/7 Sportswoman of the Year in 2021. Some character, isn't she, Simi?
Yeah, like she's just been a great ambassador for the game, and like off the pitch as well as on it. Like, she's a bit struggling from or rehabbing a bit of an injury at the minute, but I'm sure she'll be back doing what she's done like for the last season, like running into things, running round things and doing things that props shouldn't be doing in terms of screaming down wings. But like the role that she's played off it in terms of being a rugby player whilst being a doctor and all what she stands for, and then going and playing for the Barbars as well. That's pretty incredible year that she's had. So yeah, fully well deserved that award. Yeah,
no, she's a good girl, and yeah, as you say, she does lots, not in a particularly if I may say, just in a really wholesome, genuine way. I always go about it in a slightly different way, but yeah, it's just done from a really, really good place and a wholesome way from some grounded roots. So no, well done to Simi. As I say, we'll be back next week. I think Berth's going to be on next week, hopefully. But look, enjoy your weekend off. Get the coat out, because I know what it's like with you, but it's absolutely Baltic here.
It's very cold here, and I'm going up north, so it's probably likely to be even colder. So I'm off to see the family finally.
Oh, the big freaks. I mean, they'll be frozen anyway. They'll be like the sort of the north side of Game of Thrones. Well, look, go and enjoy that. Thank you so much. Always an absolute treat and a pleasure to speak to you, Sunter. So proud you're part of the WRP. And yes, love the New Year's resolutions. And we will see you very, very soon.
Yep, see you soon, Johnny.
Take care, everybody. See you next week.